What is EV, and why are people constantly talking about it? If you've been around the trading card scene, or been into the finance side of it at all, you'll have heard the term EV, or expected value. EV is based on the values of each possible card in the product, taking into account their relative rarity and distribution. For a product with a set deck list, this is a fixed value. For a product with a randomized contents, such as a booster pack or booster box, this is an average value of a wide range. For instance, the EV of this booster box is currently £67. I was able to obtain these for £60. Does this mean I should go out and buy as many as I can because I can just open these and turn a profit? No. There are two things that need to be taken into account when looking into EV. The first is that they are taking the average of a theoretically infinite sample size, which leads to getting a perfect distribution of the cards. In reality, however, you're not going to get 0.25 of a legendary card in your box. You're either going to get 1 or 0. And rarer cards like this make up the majority of the value within the box. They are the lottery cards. The perfect Welcome to Wrath booster box could contain nearly £600 worth of cards. The worst booster box could contain about 40. That looks like good odds, doesn't it? But like any form of gambling, you're far more likely to end up with the low end than the high end. The second thing is that the values given for each card are the shop selling prices. These are the values for the commercial shops that are selling singles. This is not the price they will buy the cards for, and this is not the price you will be able to sell the cards to people for. A major impact of this is the commons. In each box, you will get at least 288 normal common cards. These can be sold by shops for about 5p a pop. That quickly adds up to £14.40p. Assuming you're getting 1.75 rares per pack, they also add up. The cheapest rares go for 25p and the most expensive ones go for 75p. So we'll take the average and say 50p a rare. This works out to about £21. So if you're keeping track of this and taking both of those into account, we're now up to £35.4, which is fairly good. We haven't even gotten to the nice cards. But there's a caveat with that. If you walked into a shop and tried to sell those, you would either get laughed out of the shop or offered maybe £5 if you're lucky, and more than likely they would not take the commons. Nobody is actually buying common cards. Commons and rares within the Flesh and Blood game don't really have much of a value. They are opened so commonly that anyone who wants one can easily get one. They don't really need to buy them from shops, but when they do, they'll buy it from a commercial outlet. So you, as an individual, have a very low chance of being able to sell these cards. To get an accurate value of what you can actually get out of a box, it's good practice to exclude any card worth under £2, unless they're in particularly high demand. By doing this, it becomes very apparent that the actual value in a box is limited to a handful of cards. These are primarily cards in the foil slot, or cards of the higher rarity, such as super rares, majestics, fables, and legendary cards. Let's take my boxes as an example. I have a Welcome to Wrath booster box and an Arcane Rising booster box. From these two booster boxes, I got very lucky. And I got 2 legendary cards from 2 boxes. That's pretty good odds. I also got a foil high demand majestic card. Those 3 cards combined total £230. If I was to exclude those 3 cards, and as we mentioned earlier, exclude the rares and commons, the entire value of my booster box is worth about £20. Those 3 cards account for over 90% of the value in the boxes I pulled. Of the remaining cards, all of the value is in the Majestics. Even some of the super rares dip below the £2 mark. The takeaway from this is that EV is not a good measure of the value you will get from a product. It should not be used when making financial decisions for low volumes of product. The people who can take advantage of EV are those who are opening 40 plus booster boxes. That way, they are getting more of an even distribution on a curve just by sheer volume they're opening. If you buy a single booster box, there is too much risk to you of not getting any of the chase cards. Thanks for watching, and I hope this has been a slight cautionary tale on how to interact with EV and not to blindly use it as a measure of what you're going to get out of a product. If you've enjoyed this, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next week for the next Flesh and Blood video.